It was Christmas time in Victorian London. There was a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. He was hard working, but he didn't know what generosity meant. A day before Christmas, Scrooge and his clerk, Bob Cratchit, were working in the office. Scrooge, as always, was counting his money, while Bob was counting the minutes to go home to his family.
I'm so cold in this office, but Mr. Scrooge doesn't want to turn on the heater. He says that it's a waste of money.
Suddenly, the front door opened, and Mr. Scrooge's nephew came inside.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Christmas? Bah! Christmas is only a lie.
You don't mean that, Uncle.
Of course I mean that. Christmas is just an excuse not to work. Besides, what reason do you have to be happy? You're so poor.
Come on, Uncle. And what reason do you have to be sad? You're so rich.
Ah, humbug.
Don't get angry, Uncle.
Why wouldn't I? I live in a crazy world with fools. Merry Christmas? What is Christmas? It's just a time to pay bills with money you don't have, where you see yourself a year older and not a minute richer. A time where you buy gifts you can't afford.
But, Uncle.
Go celebrate Christmas your own way, and let me celebrate my way.
But, Uncle, I know that there are some things I didn't do right, some things I didn't take advantage of. And one of those things is Christmas. Christmas is the only day where people seem to get along just fine. It's a time of forgiveness, love, and charity. It's a time where people open their hearts to one another. Maybe, Uncle, Christmas hasn't given me a gold or silver coin, but it does good to me. That's why I say, blessed be Christmas.
Well, that was a wonderful speech. I wonder why you don't work for the government.
Don't get angry, Uncle, and come to our house tomorrow. My wife and I are preparing a delicious dinner. You'll be our special guest.
Thanks, but no.
But why, Uncle?
Have a nice day.
I don't need anything from you. I don't ask you for anything. Why can't we be friends?
Have a nice day.
I'm sorry, Uncle, that you already took a decision, but I insist on celebrating Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Have a nice day, a Happy New Year, and goodbye.
As you wish, Uncle. And Bob, have a Merry Christmas.
I wish the same to you. Goodbye.
Then Scrooge's nephew left the office.
How about that? A clerk who earns the minimum salary with a wife and kids talking about Merry Christmas. He must be insane.
Sir, I finished copying all the letters and filed the paperwork. I also brought in more firewood and swept out the ashes. And, well, it's closing time, Mr. Scrooge.
Fine. If your work is finished, you can go now.
Mr. Scrooge, tomorrow's Christmas to spend with my family.
You'd like the day off, I suppose.
Well, yes, Mr. Scrooge. After all, it is Christmas.
Christmas? Bah! Humbug. Fine, take tomorrow off, but be here early the next day.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Humbug.
Cratchit left the office, and Scrooge returned to his desk to finish his accounts. After a few hours, Scrooge closed his accounts book and proceeded to close the office. When he got home, he climbed the stairs to his bedroom, sat in a chair beside the fire, and started to eat his supper. Suddenly he heard odd bells ringing and a strange and loud noise coming from the outside.
Who's making that noise? I must have fallen asleep.
But the strange noise continued until he saw a ghost coming through the bedroom door.
I think I'm dreaming.
No, this is not a dream.
I know you. You're Marley. What do you want from me?
I want a lot from you. Do you see these chains? I'm chained to my sins.
What sins? You were a hard worker, had a good sense for business and making money.
A good sense for business and making money? I took advantage of people. While I was alive, I never learned the true value of love and charity. Now I have to wander earth, unable to find peace. Hear me, Scrooge. I am here to warn you. You still have the opportunity to change, and if you don't, the same fate awaits you. Listen well, Scrooge. 3 spirits will visit you. The first will arrive in the dark of night when the clock strikes 1. Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third on the next night at the last stroke of the 12th hour.
Then the ghost left the room, floating through the window. Scrooge closed the window and went back to bed, shaking in fear before drifting to sleep. The next night, when the clock struck 1, Scrooge saw a strange creature beside his bed. She wore a white robe and a blinding light radiated from her head.
Who are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past. Get out of bed and come with me.
The ghost took Scrooge through time to a small town that Scrooge started to remember. He then remembered the houses, the church, the river, the bridge, and the people.
They cannot see us or hear us. They are just shadows from the past.
Look, the school isn't that empty. There's a little boy alone, forgotten by his friends. I know him. Poor boy.
Of course, Scrooge recognized the boy. He was none other than his past self, as a lonely and sad child.
Now, let's see another Christmas.
Then they arrived at a house.
This house seems familiar. Oh, this is my house where I grew up.
Yes, it is. And do you recognize that little boy sitting alone reading?
It's me, as a child. But why is he alone?
You must know the answer.
Because my parents were working. That's why I was always alone. That's why my Christmases were so sad and lonely.
Come, take my hand. We're running out of time.
No, I've seen enough. Go away. Don't torture me.
Don't blame me. I told you these were shadows of the things that have been.
Take me back.
We have one more stop.
And they appeared in a garden. Scrooge was now a young man who was sitting in a garden beside a lovely young woman. The woman was crying.
I can't marry you, Ebenezer. There's someone you love more than me.
Nonsense. I love no other woman.
That's true. But you also love money. You love it more than anything.
There's nothing wrong in loving money.
I hope you're happy with the life you've chosen.
The woman ran away from the garden. Old Scrooge and the ghost followed her. When she stopped, Scrooge could see that she was a few years older. Children laughed and played at her feet. A little girl threw her arms around the woman and gave her a kiss.
Are they her children?
Yes, they are. But they could have been yours.
The door opened and a man appeared, presumably the child's father. The children ran to him and hugged him. The man left and then hugged and kissed his wife.
Stop it. Take me home.
And Scrooge appeared in his own bedroom.
Oh, thank goodness. It was a dream.
The next evening, just as Scrooge captured elusive sleep, the clock struck 1. Appearing before him was a jolly giant with dark brown curls. He wore a plush green robe and on his head a holly wreath set with shining icicles. The ghost carried a large torch.
Ebenezer, I tell you now that the spirit who came to you last night wasn't a dream, and neither am I.
I suppose you're the ghost of Christmas present.
Yes, I am. I have much to show you. Grab onto my robe. Hurry, we can't be late.
Scrooge touched the hem of the spirit's robe. The bedroom vanished, and Scrooge found himself on a busy, snowy street. There were many people for shopping for last-minute gifts. The stores were still open. People were cooking their best meals, and the bells from the church were striking.
Everybody looks so happy.
Yes, they are. It's Christmas. What did you expect?
You mean that they're happy just because it's December the 25th?
Yes. Today, they can forget their problems and just enjoy being with their families. They enjoy the food on their tables and the many blessings they receive.
Then the ghost took Scrooge to Bob Cratchit's house, and standing there at the door, the ghost proceeded to bless the house. Then Scrooge saw Bob Cratchit playing with his children, 3 boys and 2 girls.
Is this where he lives?
Of course, with his salary, this is all he can afford.
Then Mrs. Cratchit entered the dining room, carrying a pot of boiled beans.
They look so poor. The clothes are in tatters.
For this family, love is what matters most.
Bob Cratchit lifted the youngest boy from a chair in the corner and carried him to the table. The boy was pale and thin and carried a crutch.
Here you go, my boy. Try and eat a little something.
I'll try, Father. I think I may be a little stronger today. After all, it's Christmas.
What's wrong with him? Why doesn't he walk?
He's very sick. His name is Tiny Tim, and his parents don't have money for a doctor, so he may not live much longer.
He could die? But there must be something that can be done. Please, tell me if he will die.
I see an empty chair in the corner. If the future isn't changed, he will certainly die.
No, no!
What do you care anyway?
At that moment, Scrooge began to feel sorry for himself. Then he heard his name.
Mr. Scrooge. Thanks to Mr. Scrooge, we're having this dinner.
I wish I could see him to thank him personally.
Dear children, it's Christmas.
I know, darling. I hope he has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Let's have a toast for our Christmases and for Mr. Scrooge. Merry Christmas and God bless us all.
Father, did you know that there's a Greyhound at the animal shelter in the town square? All the other animals have been adopted. He's the only one that didn't get a home for Christmas. Maybe we could help him? A home would be the greatest Christmas gift of all.
Mr. and Mrs. Cratchit's eyes met. Knowingly telling each other another mouth to feed wasn't something they could afford to take on financially, and especially with Tiny Tim in poor health.
This child who has nothing, not even his health. How can he talk of helping another, let alone a dog? What is he thinking?
He is showing a very powerful human emotion, empathy. While his body is weak, his heart is big. It is my wish that this is something you'll come to understand and embrace yourself.
The ghost took Scrooge to visit different places around the world. The people they visited were poor but happy because they were with the people they loved. Finally, Scrooge and the ghost were at a party.
I know that voice. This is my nephew's party.
He said that Christmas was only a lie.
You should be ashamed.
He's very funny, but not a pleasant person.
You told me that he's very rich.
So what, darling? His wealth is useless. He doesn't do anything with his money. He preferred to be angry at us than to have fun with us.
Oh, they don't like me.
No, they don't. But maybe in the future, that could change.
How? How can I change the future?
The room disappeared and they continued their journey. They visited many countries. They traveled to faraway lands. They visited the sick people who felt happy, poor people who felt rich, shelters where people felt hope. It was a long night, and everything happened in just one night. Then the ghost of Christmas present was gone.
Oh, I'm in my own bed again.
The next evening, Scrooge nursed a whiskey, hoping it would help him sleep soundly. It worked until the clock struck midnight, disturbing his slumber. As Scrooge sat up in bed, another ghost floated into the room. He was dressed in a black robe, and a dark hood hid his face.
Who are you? First came the ghost of Christmas past, then the ghost of Christmas present. You must be the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Are you here to show me the future and how it can change?
The ghost said nothing. He just gestured towards the door. Scrooge followed him to the street in front of his office. 2 women stood out front talking and shaking their heads.
I know them. I do business with them. We're friends. These ladies like me, even if my own nephew doesn't. But what are they saying about me?
Poor old Scrooge.
I know. I feel sorry for him.
They told me he's very sick.
Who's taking care of him?
No one. You know that he always liked to be alone.
He doesn't have any friends either.
The ghost started walking, and Scrooge followed him down the street. They arrived at a tiny house.
Been here before. This is Cratchit's house.
The ghost took Scrooge into the bedroom. There was Bob Cratchit sitting beside his son's bed. The boy was very sick.
Why is he crying? The last time I was here, they were so happy.
Sleeping in bed was a little boy, but he was thinner and very pale. Mrs. Cratchit came into the bedroom.
Darling, what are we going to do? Did you ask Mr. Scrooge to help us pay for Tiny Tim's doctor and medicine?
Yes, I begged him, but he said he won't help us.
I don't want to lose our Tiny Tim.
Tell me, what's wrong with the little boy? What can I do to help him? Please, talk to me.
The ghost didn't answer. Then everything turned dark before Scrooge appeared in a foggy, cold place.
Oh, this is a cemetery. Why did you bring me here?
The ghost gestured with a pointed hand towards a grave.
Oh, before I get near that grave, tell me, is that the image of what will be, or is it the image of what may be?
The ghost didn't answer. Scrooge went to read the carved tombstone at the head of the grave. He fell to his knees as he realized it read, Ebenezer Scrooge.
No, no! Ghost, listen to me. I've changed. Why do you show me all this if I have lost all hope? Please tell me that I can change everything that you have shown me. I will honor Christmas in my heart. I will live in the past, in the present, and in the future. I will not forget the lessons that all the ghosts have taught me. Oh, please tell me that I can erase my name from that grave.
In his anguish, Scrooge reached for the ghost's hand, but the ghost rejected him. Scrooge awoke in his bed.
Oh, thank you. I've been given another chance. I don't know what day is today or how long I've been with the ghosts. I feel like a child, but I don't care. I want to be a child again.
At that moment, Scrooge heard the church bells ringing. He went to the window and saw a girl in the street.
Oh, wonderful. Hey, you over there. What day is today?
It's Christmas, sir. Christmas morning.
Oh, good. I haven't missed it.
Then Scrooge pulled out a bag of money. He tossed a handful of coins down to the girl.
There's a big, juicy turkey in the butcher shop window at the end of the street. Buy it and deliver it to Bob Cratchit's house. Then go to the shelter and fetch the Greyhound. You can't miss him. He's the only poor soul still waiting for a family. I'll meet you back here later so I may collect him from you.
Sir, this is a lot of money.
Oh, keep the change. Hurry up. The Cratchits are hungry and there's a little boy in need of a dog and a dog in need of a family.
Yes, sir.
Oh, young lady.
Yes, sir.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. And Merry Christmas to you, too.
Scrooge dressed in his finest clothes and headed towards his nephew's house. He was feeling really happy and very excited. He waved to everybody in the street and treated everybody nicely. When Scrooge reached his nephew's house, his nephew was surprised to see him.
Uncle, I am happy to see you. I'm really glad you changed your mind about Christmas dinner. Come and celebrate the holiday with us.
Yes, thank you for accepting me.
His nephew's wife set an extra place at the table.
We're happy to have you here. You've arrived just in time for the turkey.
After dinner, Scrooge said a few words.
Thank you. I've never eaten a more delicious meal. But I have to go now. I have some other things to do and people to visit.
Scrooge stopped at home where the girl was waiting with the Greyhound. Taking the leash from the girl, he headed to Bob Cratchit's house. Mrs. Cratchit opened the door. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Mr. Scrooge standing in front of her.
Merry Christmas, dear lady.
Oh, Mr. Scrooge, what a surprise. I want to thank you for the wonderful turkey. And who's this?
Tiny Tim, watching the bustle at the open front door, couldn't contain his excitement.
Oh, sir, is that the Greyhound from the shelter? You saved him.
Young man, I saved him for you.
Mr. Scrooge, please come in. Your visit is certainly unexpected. About the Greyhound.
Bob, before you finish that thought, let me speak. You've worked long hours without complaining for many years. I'm raising your salary so that you're properly paid and can more than support your beautiful family, including your boy's new friend, this regal Greyhound.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge. You're so generous.
You mean the Greyhound is all mine?
That's right, young sir. He's all yours. You might find his tongue lolls out of his mouth from time to time, but don't worry. They all do that. Merry Christmas.
Scrooge did more than what he said he would do. He took care of Tiny Tim as a second father would do. Some people laughed at how he changed, but he didn't care. Scrooge never saw the ghosts again, but he had many friends and was always close to his family. Each time he had a meal with his friends and family, he would say,
God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
The end.
Yay!
Great job, everyone. I want to introduce you and your character, if you could just wave. So the narrator is Gary Harrison from New Zealand. Scrooge, Mr. Rich Skipworth in the UK.
Hello.
Scrooge's nephew, Ken Marten in Michigan, USA. Bob Cratchit, Mr. Al Cavallo in New Jersey, USA. Marley, Emmalemma Linglong in the UK. Ghost of Christmas Past is Victoria Donohue in New Jersey, USA. Playing the former fiance and woman number 2 is Miss Chris Winslow. The Ghost of Christmas Present is Mr. Bill Buckley. Tiny Tim, Miss Ellen Ganopoulos. Yes, there you go. Okay, that's enough. Mrs. Cratchit, that's me, Jacqueline Howard. Scrooge's nephew's wife, Jennifer Valdez in Michigan, USA. Woman number 1, Kathy Clark in Delaware, USA. And that's it. That's it for the cast. I think I hit everybody. So thank you for everybody who watched. And thank you to the cast who came together, shared their time and talents, and let us put on our version of A Christmas Carol. Thanks, everyone.
Delightful.
Thanks for
Thank
putting
you
it
all
on.
so much. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas to all.